Green Bay is a small town, only 100,000 people. Those 100,000 people may be different in many ways, but there's one thing that brings them all together: the Green Bay Packers. In Titletown, the blue-collar city only knows hard work, tailgating, championships, but more importantly, they know family.
We have a saying in this town: faith, family, and the Green Bay Packers are all that you need. Sanjay and I grew up in Green Bay. You could say that we are Green Bay, or even better, the voices of Green Bay. We bring a local feel of Packer fandom to a worldwide audience.
Friendship, family, and football.
Ladies and gentlemen,
This is the Freezer Podcast. What is up? We are back. This is the Freezer Podcast, where we bring you a local field Packer fandom to a worldwide audience. I'm Sanjay, and alongside me, like always, is Fred and Matt. We are back, all three of us. It is a Victory Tuesday coming off of a New Year's. It's not even a miracle because it was just a spanking, of the Minnesota Vikings. And it feels good to kind of be back, all three of us together, and kind of in a beautiful situation come Sunday. 3:30, I guess, win and get into the playoffs. I cannot believe we were talking about playoffs with this team, given the state in October, but here we are. Fred, how you feeling?
Good, man. You ever seen that little video clip of, what's his name? I'm going to think about. He's like, hey, look at us. Look at us now.
Yeah, Paul Rudd.
Paul Rudd. Thank you. Sorry.
Who'd have thought? Not me.
But yeah, who'd have thought? I mean, that's how it is, right? Like, I'm sitting here like, who'd have thought? Here we are, right? The Packers, Jordan Love, first season. We'll dive into the statistics, but we are on the brink of potentially going to the playoffs. I could rewind to our first episode, and I'll guarantee you none of us were talking playoffs.
Actually, you guys were. You guys said 12-5.
I set you up pretty good there.
I brought it out last week for receipts, and I was like, see, this is why you're an idiot. And then I had to own it. But hey, here we are. Go ahead, though.
Well, you know, it's a good feeling. Obviously, happy 2024 to everybody out there, and thanks for tuning in today. You know, I realized after the game that, 2023 started with a walloping of the Vikings at Lambeau Field, and it ended with a walloping with the Vikings at US Bank Stadium. So when you bookend your ear kicking the shit out of those guys, you know what? I don't think you can ask for anything better than that. So excited to dive into the big win with you guys here.
You want to do it?
Yeah, go ahead. I was literally
shake the rust off
right there. So
yeah, no, you're fine. Yeah. So anyway, well, before we get into obviously the butt whooping and what we're going to look into, I want to pay our quick condolences to the family of Kenny Bowman. Fantastic center who played for the Green Bay Packers, mid to late 60s, won the 65, 66, 67 championship as center. From the University of Wisconsin, which I think a lot of people, gotta love that, UW baby. But kind of came in after Jimmy Ringo, right? Who was an absolute legend as well, took over the center position, was just an absolute beast. Great individual, great man, like many of those Lombardi players were, right? And we're really getting low here on some of those guys. And I don't think I can stress enough how important each one of them were to the success of that whole entire dynasty. And I think each one of them would say that about each other. So he was an absolute legend. A lot of my grandpa said it. I know I think they mentioned it maybe in the Packers post today about how actually during, when they ran the sweep, they all thought that Kenny's job was the hardest, right? Because my grandpa got the pull and Kramer get the pull, but he had to take that nose tackle down, because if that nose tackle gets through, the whole play gets busted up. So his job was really, really important in those, and a lot of times kind of gets lost in the mix, right? Because we glorify the Kramers and the Thurstons in that play, and they deserve a lot of that, of course. But what he did was super important, and not only was he a legend off the field and what he was doing. I think he graduated from UW with a law degree, so very smart. And a legend on the field. But ladies and gentlemen, does it get more legendary than this? I mean, this gentleman.
Wow.
I mean, you got the mustache today.
You got the collar, you got the stash, you got the full that's a full emo look before emo was
Yep.
even happening. And that's a lot of hair, right, for that front. So he had to let that grow. But all jokes aside, another one, we lose another one, and we're very dwindled here in those Lombardi legends. And we lost a really, really good one. And I just, you're kind of counting your blessings, if you will, with each one kind of passing on. And it sucks. And I just hope that, what I can do and what the show can do and what other people can do is to continue to talk about this legacy and this dynasty and let it go forever. Because I was watching an old video today from, I believe, the early 80s, where my grandpa and Jerry Kramer are in the old Hall of Fame talking about Super Bowl I. And my grandpa looks at Jerry Kramer and he says something along the lines of, in 20, 30 years, you can ask me who wins the 5th Super Bowl and the 7th Super Bowl and the 12th Super Bowl, and I'm not going to remember, but everyone's going to remember who won that first Super Bowl. And
Damn right.
I loved it. And those guys were legends upon legends. And big condolences to the Bowman family.
Well said, Fred.
Yeah, that was well said. I mean, I really love it when it comes from you, because obviously you've lived a life where you've gotten to meet some of these guys, and it's really something special for you and your family, obviously. So it's really cool to hear it and get a little bit of a, school lesson about, basically that team. Because honestly, unless you read every single thing about those teams and that roster, like you don't really know a lot about the, like maybe if it's just like he put his shoulder back in place in like the Super Bowl, like, like it's just weird, crazy stuff like that. You just don't think about it. And then you're like, damn, do you think that stuff happens today? And they go in the blue tent and then they're out. Like they're out. Like they check out for the rest of the game. So it's kind of it's a different era of football.
Definitely. The thing that's crazy about it too, I mean, like my grandpa was 6'2", 240, I think, at his max. That's what they listed him as. So who knows how true it was. And let's be honest, it wasn't 240 muscle. You look at Bowman, I think Bowman was close to that, if not smaller than that. And he's going against some of the legendary nose tackles, the Buck Buchanans, the 6'7", 320-pound guys, who at that time, now that's like a common left tackle. But at that time, I mean,
it was a behemoth back then.
Green. Yeah, it's a huge like Deacon Jones and Buck Buchanan were absolute monsters. And you had, guys like my grandpa and Jerry was a little bit taller and bigger. But I mean, these were the average size dudes. I mean, if I walked up to a guy who was 6'7", 320, I sure as heck wouldn't think I'm going to take you on in a one-on-one wrestling match.
Okay, basically what you're saying, you said 6'2", 240. I mean, that's like me in my current state, like,
absolutely
not all muscle, a lot of flesh.
I am currently 6'2", 240 with a good side of flab. And I know for a fact that if I had to go against someone like, Buck Buchanan or something, I would die.
I'd be in the blue tent.
These guys were built different. They played for the love, the truest love of the game.
Yeah, they weren't getting paid.
They didn't care about. They didn't get paid for nothing. It wasn't about fame then, because they weren't really that famous. I mean, they were a little bit after Super Bowl I, right, but it wasn't until late 60s, early 70s that NFL really kind of took off. And I remember my grandpa telling me all the time, like when they won the first Super Bowl, he had no idea. Like to them, it was like a glorified high school state championship. They didn't realize the effects and all that. And I know I've talked about this on the show before, but that's crazy to think of too. So really for them, it was like, hey, we're going to go out with a bunch of dudes that we practice with, and we're going to play in the LA Coliseum and we're going to win the Super Bowl. And I mean, it would be kind of cool if we win or whatever. Little did they know that it would turn into what we see today, which is an absolute circus, if you will, when it comes to the Super Bowl and just the NFL
global spectacle.
So, yeah, and I mean, these guys were a big part of it. And in their little town of Green Bay, Wisconsin, on their little bodies, doing car salesman stuff on the weekend,
greatest sports story ever.
It was just special, man. Very special.
Yeah, and I hope there's a special moment this Sunday, obviously, when we play against our oldest rival, the other oldest team in the league, and that's the Bears, obviously. And we'll get to them at the end of the show. But we had a different, I guess, more of our rival, I guess, with the Vikings, because at least they've won some games. But interesting game and interesting, like just kind of to start the week. I mean, we already heard about Ja getting suspended, so you're already on like, the depths of like, okay, crap, we just lost our, number one corner. Then you hear about Eric Stokes going to IR. This guy's just, whatever. Just I don't know what you make of him. I don't know what. It's tough because the guy had a lot. I know this was one of Fred's picks that he had called out that we got, and you know what? I hope somehow he can figure out these injuries and hopefully he can, be back next season and, maybe contribute. But right now he's got some competition with Valentine just making some plays and, wanting to earn that spot as a starter. And, but you get all that news about that. Then you hear about the Nick Mullins benching, and then you're going to go with Jaren Hall, which was also kind of like tasty for us as Packer fans, and then really head scratching for Minnesota fans because they're probably like, man, it sucked that, Nick Mullins had a lot of picks against the Lions, but he at least kept us in the game. And, it's one of those questions is did the coach overthink it with the strategy? Maybe like, oh, I want to go with this young gun. They don't know. They don't have much tape on him. Maybe he's got something that we can see because we see it in camp, right? Or they see it in practices. They probably think he looks pretty good in practice. And then lo and behold, you go against, even when it is Joe Barry's defense, sometimes, we got to give him a little bit of a nod of saying, damn, okay, you kind of stepped up today. And that's kind of what the story was. I mean, as much as I want to say Jordan Love was the story, I think the defense was also a story in this, probably the bigger story in this game, because you held a team to 200 yards, total as an offense. I mean, that's with Justin Jefferson, Jordan Addison, Alex Madison, Ty Chandler. Obviously they were missing, Hawkinson, which was a big miss, but that's a lot of good dudes right there. And then the fact is that you were doing it with scraps. Like you got Valentine on the number one receiver in the league. And then Jordan Addison was basically unheard of with, Valentine. I don't even think Valentine was thrown at. And Nixon had a nice game too. And I think that was really the culmination of Joe Barry, right? Like you've seen the ups and you've seen the downs. And this is one of those ups where you're like, damn, like, I think I got to give this guy a little bit of credit here. Matt, what are your thoughts? At least we'll get to the offense, but I really think we should start talking about this defense.
Yeah, I mean, I was impressed, and it's. I think, and maybe you guys felt differently, but I thought even the fact that they were starting Jaren Hall, I thought there was no guarantee that the Packers were going to come out there and have the success that they had. I mean, we've seen them get steamrolled by plenty of subpar QBs. I mean, the last week, they gave up a ton of points and yards to Bryce Young, and then this week they looked terrible. Yeah. This game I kind of thought was how the Panthers game was going to go, that they would be able to control the entire game. But what I thought was noticeable for me was I thought they were more aggressive on defense. They were bringing some of those safety blitzes. Nixon got home on one. I thought they used Quay Walker much more creatively. They blitzed him up the middle a few times. He disrupted a few plays. I think that's the kind of things that this defense and the players on it are looking to do, is utilize some of these guys' unique talents instead of just
why do they only think they can do that against a bad court, like a rookie court? Because like why don't they do that if like Kirk Cousins was in town? Like
exactly,
they're gonna get torched because they have no faith in their back end.
When we always say, leverage the talent that you have. Don't just pigeonhole them into some position because that's what they're slotted to do. I mean, if you got Quay Walker, who's got tremendous speed, use him on a delayed blitz and surprise the offense line and the quarterback. So that stuff, we've been kind of dying to see all year, and it was great to see it on display. And to nobody's surprise, when they pulled it out, they had a lot of success, and it looked fantastic from start to finish. I mean, even when they pulled Mullins in the second half, they had a little bit of spurt of energy there, but they adjusted quickly and put the clamps on up. And it wasn't for Samori Touré's stupid fumble. The game ends 30-3. They don't even score a touchdown. So if they can continue that momentum into this next week, I mean, you got to like your chances.
Yeah, it was also, great to see Preston Smith. I thought he had an absolutely stunner game.
He balled, man.
He shows up, not all the time, but when he does, it's big and he makes a move. I thought all season, though, really, to be honest, he's had a really great season. Just in general, I mean, we always look at it from a sack perspective, but I think he's just played on that defensive end spot really well. He's put good weight on. He's really held that edge really well. I think he's been fantastic. If I'm going to knock anything, it's where's my $90 million edge in Rashawn Gary? Where are you at? I mean, he's one of these guys that is so electric, so impressive, but it's a 1 game on, 2 games off, 1 game on, 2 games off.
Which, hey, maybe that means he's due this weekend.
Absolutely. And it's not a knock on him, like talent wise. I just think, maybe it's offensive scheming around him. I don't know what it is, but
like
it just
you're getting
feels
paid like TJ Watt though, right? Like, and
Yeah,
TJ
like,
Watt,
like
you
it.
know where his presence is. Like that's the thing.
Yeah,
Like that's what I'm kind of expecting now with that kind of money. Like when you weren't
that's
getting paid, I was
exactly
like,
where I'm
okay,
at.
fine, you can be absent here and there, but now I'm kind of thinking you should be there every game.
Yeah, I mean, and that's where I think his biggest downfall so far is. He's still very young. We're going into that, but yeah, I got to see more. I got to see him be a little bit more disruptive. I'm not saying I need a sack from him, but I need him in there a little bit. I mean, probably the best corner we've got on the team, Ethan. I'm going to be totally honest with you.
QB1 or CB1, CB1.
Yeah, DB1, bro. But that would be my biggest knock would be that. I think you kind of hit it on the head with let's use our players, better. We've talked about this a million times. I would love to see Quay Walker be used in that role more. I think he's so electric and he's so elusive and so fast that he could easily sleek through those lines and disrupt quarterback. I get it. I get like the fear of always blitzing or being aggressive because you don't know if that opens up something. Some quarterbacks are great against the blitz, some are not. So I get it, but this is textbook Joe Barry. He did the same crap last year. Was Garbaggio for the first 10 weeks of the season. Then he flipped it and played man press coverage and everything switched. I'm like, wow, maybe he's not that bad. Same thing this year. Garbaggio. And then this time he's waiting till the last 2 weeks, but it was like, this is the defense. This is what you should be doing all the time. So that was, kind of where I'll leave all that. The other thing I want to maybe just touch on is, and I said this, I think maybe 3-4 weeks ago, it's been a long time since I've been on this podcast, but I really like the way that these other guys are stepping up. These Jonathan Owens, these Ballentines. Like, I know you want to hate on Johnny Owens, but he's there. He's making
a nice
making
PBU
enough
on
plays. Absolutely. So like, I like the fact
he's
that
sneaky good,
young
man.
guys, these young guys or these newer guys step up. We saw it with Rasul Douglas too. Like this team is almost better with guys that aren't big names. Like you got the guys like Jair, yes, crazy talent, but I mean, do we need them? Sure, yeah, probably, but like
I think we
ultimately, I mean, of course, but like ultimately, like we're not letting up like Justin Jefferson did not torch us, and we have a guy named Valentine and Valentine. One is like a 7th rounder, and I don't even know when Valentine was taken.
7th round.
Like, so that's like,
but the problem is,
like,
go ahead.
I got to give credit. I just got to give credit to, maybe it's not Barry, maybe it's like the secondary coaches, because by all accounts, you got Savage, who's gone through his enough problems, Johnny Owens, Valentine and Valentine. If I'm an offensive coordinator, I'm chucking the ball. And teams aren't. They can't quite figure it out. Maybe that's a testament to our front seven. I don't know, but
I think it's a lot of the quarterback though too. Like that guy sucked. Like he was just awful. And like I'm just saying, like if it's Kirk Cousins, I think he shreds us. Like I truly believe that if it's Kirk Cousins as quarterback, he would torch Valentine and Valentine. I do think it's a nice story. I think they have definitely
outside of Baker and Goff,
which Baker torched us. Like
that's what I'm saying. Outside of Baker and Goff, that one game, we haven't really been torched.
How many good quarterbacks have we played? Outside of the Mahomes game, really good.
That's the thing. Baker and Goff isn't even good.
Goff,
Goff, I'll give him credit.
He's efficient.
He's had a nice season, but like outside of that, who have we really played that's really that good? I mean, Justin Herbert kind of torched us. He just had a lot of drops.
Yeah.
So I'm just saying, like, this is more facts and evidence that we need to fire Joe Barry. Like, this is not like a.
I'm saying he's got to go.
Knock on the guys. It's just more like this scheme sucks, and like we're just skating by, and then we'll probably get demolished in the first round of playoffs. But it's fine. Like at least we know what we have in front of us, and that is a fireable coach. And let's see what we can do with the pieces we have. Maybe we have to shake things up. Maybe we have to go, in a different direction with players. I don't know.
Well, and look at this way too. Like going into the season, we probably didn't expect Valentine or Ballantyne to really play any meaningful snaps, and they end up basically starting the entire year.
Valentine.
So going into 24, I have no idea what Eric Stokes looks like. I'm assuming Jair will be back.
We went through the same trap with Randall and Rollins. Remember? Demarius Randall and
Randall and Rounds.
Like, we can get rid of Hyde and
Well, I'm not saying we should get rid of anybody, but when you get Jair back and you get Stokes back, you got 4 pretty good experienced cornerbacks all of a sudden, Well,
you got to stop calling Stokes you got to.
I mean,
I don't know what's gonna happen to him.
I think I might even take Ballantyne over Stokes at this point. I don't know.
I mean, to be fair, and I'm gonna fight this I'll give it one more year, but you gotta, he's coming off a big injury. He's never gonna be quite where he needs to be. I mean, he didn't even get
injured on the injury he got from the first place. That's the thing, though. He got an ACL injury and then he got hamstrings.
Wow.
Yeah, they got to do something about hamstrings.
I'm not trying to knock on players in the NFL. I get that the game is tough and blah blah blah, but the guy just got hurt on a punt coverage on the second play of his return, and then he gets a hammy there, and then he somehow gets a hammy injury in practice. I don't know. The guy, it's not his fault, but if we have to criticize something, he may just not have the body meant for the NFL. We've seen this time in, time out with other players. Hell, maybe even Aaron Jones. I mean, the guy always somehow finds a way to get on the sideline and get.
But at least he comes back explosive.
He did. Yeah, he did come back, and
I was just gonna say, in that case, then what is your take with Watson? But then you say he comes back explosive, and Watson, when he plays, is electric. If Stokes was electric but always hurt, we could make an argument for it. I get it.
Yeah, and I'm not saying yes, an ACL injury is definitely not something you're just gonna be like, woo, I'm coming back full strength. But at the same time, too, if he truly was never going to be back fully 100%, then just keep him on IR. Then, he clearly thought he could play. The medics thought he was cleared. So when he just not re-aggravates, but when he just gets injured on a completely different injury, his hammy, I don't know.
It's too much time on Stokes.
So believe me, I agree.
10 plays this year.
Let's talk about the offense. J Love. I don't know. I feel like we were doing this for the last we've been doing this show for 3-4 years. We were doing so much of how much we are kind of Marcus Johnson talks about this with Giannis. He's like, I'm never shocked, but I'm always amazed, right? We always said that about Rodgers, right? We were just we knew this guy always just could do things, and we were just kind of in awe when he does it. And now with Jordan Love, we're starting to see little glimpses of that where you're just damn, okay, you keep impressing me. Maybe it's not even amazement; it's more you're impressed, and the fact that we have this huge question on week 1 of is this the guy? You signed him only to a completely unsure contract because you didn't know. And then now you're looking like you might have to pay the piper because this guy clearly has what it takes. If you could just give him a solid offensive line, you keep, feeding him weapons across the board. And if those weapons can stay healthy, the thing is, and this is why I think if you listen to Peter Bukowski on his podcast on Locked On Packers, if you can just look at what he's doing compared to the other MVP candidates and look at his production, it is kind of wild what he's doing with just scraps on the depth chart.
If we're all being totally serious, not a single person on the show or amongst the Packer fan base thought that Jordan Love would be putting up the stat line that he did. I mean, we'd all say bullshit if you told me, hey, going into the last week of the season, he had 30 touchdowns and 211 picks and nearly 4,000 yards. I'd say there's no way. I mean, we all thought, there's a potential for him to pan out and maybe he'd get to that type of stat level at some point, but there's no way that he'd do it in year 1. And mind you, he's doing it with literally all first and second year guys. It is a stunning performance. And I mean, it compared to where we were in October, we're like, I don't know, man, they might have to be looking at a QB in August and come, April's draft. To flash forward here to be at the start of 2024, and we know damn well that he's going to be the guy going forward. This season, no matter what happens next week or whatever after that, is a wild success because we got what we needed, which is our franchise QB. And on the way, we have a stockpile of young, exciting pass catchers. I mean, you go up and down the board, and each one of those guys, you're like, yeah, that guy brings something to the table. And I don't know. I mean, I just think that he's finally starting to get some of this national recognition. People starting to talk about him a little bit more. I watched the mashups of Colin Cowherd have to eat crow all day long because that guy was a hot take express on Jordan Love early in the year, and he's having to now, walk it all back and admit that he's actually pretty good. So this is huge. And I don't know, man. I'm thrilled for him, and I'm thrilled for the team, and I'm thrilled for Gutekunst, who took a shit load of crap in the media from everybody about that pick, and now he's looking pretty smart.
Yeah, that's the first thing I was going to say was Gutekunst has to be just giggling in his office. And you know what? Here's the thing that I think we all need to just maybe take this little pill of patience, right? Patience is key here. And we've never been patient, and it's football. I get it. It's the NFL. But everybody else remained patient. And look what happened. The guy has been absolutely remarkable. If you would, I mean, we all thought, hey, he could be decent. But if you told me he was going to be top 3 in passing touchdowns, I would have laughed in your face.
Yeah,
If you would have told me he would have been top 5 in passing yards, I would have laughed in your face. If you would have told me that, you know, he would be on the brink of potentially getting to this team to the playoffs, I would have laughed in your face.
Now,
And then if you would have added what?
I was just gonna say there are a lot of injured quarterbacks. I will say that though too. I'm just saying Joe Burrow's hurt. Like there is some.
Okay, but he's
quarterback-
still above Patrick Mahomes.
No, you're right. I'm
He
not
would
saying
he
okay,
would
again,
be he
I'm
would
not
be above.
I'm not taking away from him. I'm just
Well,
saying
you are.
too.
But you are.
Would he?
You just took it away.
I
You
just
took it away.
slightly.
All right, back off for 5 minutes. All right. So here's the thing. Not only is he just doing like, and I'm going to just kind of elaborate on what you said, Matt, the fact that we have the receivers that we do the first and second year is astonishing, especially when you think of next season as well, too.
Yes.
Right. We're not going to get any worse. And
Yeah.
in all of them, right? So Christian Watson, Jaden Reed, Romeo Doubs, Wicks, Heath,
Melton,
Musgrave, Kraft, all that, 12.3 million. 12.3 million for all of that when you let Lazard go for 14 million or whatever it was. I mean, it's remarkable not only what we have, but what we continue to have going forward. And it's I don't even know the word for it. The fact that here we are 3 in a row, and I'm not saying 3 in a row in Hall of Famers or 3 in a row Super Bowl, whatever, but to just have that quarterback locked in, safe and sound for potentially another 10-year run or more is, I mean, to us, it's almost like, okay, great. Yeah, we should. Other teams around the league clamoring, still trying to figure out who their quarterback is. The Bears obviously are still trying to figure it out. And they have a guy who I think could be decent if they play it right. But what we're able to do with quarterbacks is just remarkable. And I still cannot for the life of me, and please somebody on the chat or in here, explain to me how since 1992 and now we're on 2024, we've done something a certain way and every team has been able to publicly see it and no one replicates it. Nobody drafts a quarterback 2-3 years in advance and sits them and grooms them and builds them. And I just don't get it. It blows my mind.
And we get made fun of for it. They made fun of us for I mean, I know maybe we were critical at some point too, because we were kind of wondering, but I mean, look at it. How can you argue with the results at this point? The Packers clearly know what they're doing. And like you said, Fred, I'm surprised more teams haven't started to mimic that. Now, I want to say just regarding the receivers, if you followed the show the last couple of years, I have been screaming at the top of any mountain I can climb up about getting the receiver room flipped over and finding new. And I'm climbing down the mountain now. My cup is full. I feel like
for left tackles now.
I mean, we got guys up and down. I mean, I love me.
We'll make him the resident offensive line coach.
so to be at this point right now without having to like draft a bunch of guys or sign some big free agent, high priced guy to do it with late picks or a couple of second and third rounders, it's awesome. I don't know what else to say.
Hey, but I have a question for you. Would you? If knowing what you know now, would you have rather hoped that Rodgers would have just been a mentor with these younger guys compared to Jordan Love? You're saying that now though, but here's the thing.
But he wouldn't have. We went through years of second, third, fourth round picks, and he never took
would have made it work when you knew that he could probably be like, do you think you would have lost some of these games with Rodgers?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because what I see when Jordan Love is under center or getting the snaps is a guy who is willing to sort of run the system, B, check down, C, find his best results. Whereas 100%. Aaron Rodgers was always stuck on either Devontae Adams, Randall Cobb, Jordy Nelson, and that's it. Would Rodgers have done the 7 or 8 checkdowns to Tucker Kraft that we saw in the last 2 weeks, where it was just an easy 3-4 and pick it up? Hell no.
However, he did do the easy check down to Malik Heath the other night, last night. Come on. Anyway, go on.
I'm
You
just,
know it. Come on. You know we were all questioning that one.
He gets
But
a
yes,
couple.
I
I
freebies.
question you as a fan a lot more than I question that last play.
Hey, come on now. You were saying
Do
the
you
same
really?
thing.
Do
to me
you?
as
Okay,
that.
but do you actually think that Aaron Rodgers?
No, I was just
would have
posing
been
the question. I don't
patient?
believe it 1 second.
Okay.
I'm good with Love. Again, I would rather have these young guys screw up and figure it out together, and then come back next year and be the
It's gonna
team
be
that
so
everybody has
great how
to.
much they grow together. Like the fact that they're
Right,
going
that's
to
what
grow
I'm saying.
together
Yes,
excites
I
me
would rather
so much.
them. The NFL is going to fear this team if it's not next year, for sure the year after. I'm
Mhm.
telling you right now.
I think
this
I
team
think
will. Maybe it might be feared next year.
I
don't
think
know.
the league's on notice next year. I mean, the fact that if they were figuring it out at this right how they are now, and they kind of did it mid-season, I mean, that we'd be firmly in the playoffs. I think going into next year, you bring all these guys back and you kind of bolster the defense a little bit with a new defensive coordinator. I'm sure they're going to draft a defensive guy in the first round. I'll bet my whole bank account
1000%.
on it. I'll bet everything on it. You have to respect
Is
that.
it the first year that you actually don't genuinely want them to draft a receiver?
I admittedly
want a
yes.
tackle.
I mean,
good.
and
I want to.
You don't need
maybe
to for another
offensive
4
line,
years.
but I agree. I think that you can safely draft defense, and you can count on Matt Jensen not complaining about it on Twitter at some point.
Do you think that means that this game means way more to get into the playoffs? Let the whole national media see this young team, even if we lose to a 2 seed,
Absolutely.
to see this team,
Yeah.
and then let them mark this day that they said we saw Jordan Love in a playoff game with this young crew, because that's why Bakhtiari wants to come back. Why the hell do you think he would have came back if this team,
That dude is a fucking snake. I don't care any that shit is so ridiculous to me, and it makes me want to puke. Is how much you quit on this team, how much you were already packing your bags for New York, and then things got good, and you're like, well, I want to be on the Packers again. No, dude, get your fat ass out of here. Nobody cares about you. Nobody wants you around here anymore. You're a piece of crap. It's true. It's so true. It drives me absolutely bonkers that we would even consider it. It will be a toxic situation. It's not legit. This team right now in that locker room is more of a team than we've been in probably the last 10 years. And you're going to bring him into it. It just doesn't make any sense. I understand
it is a weird
talent.
thing.
The talent is far superior than Rasheed Walker. But the problem is
I'd
you're
rather take
messing with
Rasheed
the
Walker.
gel. You're messing with the stuff. And I just think that this team is playing so good. And to go back to your other comment about getting into the playoffs, the fact that we could get into the playoffs, whether or not we could get blown out in that first game, it will be such a colossal overachievement of what we thought this season was going to be.
Yes.
And we're going to, okay. But the thing is none of us even expected us to get to, we were all thinking, well, if we can get to 500, this will be great.
I was thinking high pick. Let's keep.
And now we're
ball.
talking, number 5 pick. And now we're talking potential playoff. And I'm not going to be crazy. But just hear me out. Playing probably our best football at the right time with a young team that not many people have a whole lot of good film on. There's no reason that I'm not saying we're going to run into the Super Bowl, but I'm not saying we couldn't even just pull out a sneaky win that first week too.
Oh,
I think that is unbelievable.
I mean, if we're playing the Eagles,
it's possible. The Lions,
it's
possible
right now, or is it the Lions? Are the Lions a 2 seed?
The Lions right now, Cowboys right now, the 2 seed. Lions are 3 seed.
Oh, are you telling me? Big Mike's gonna have to?
You already texted me about it. But hey,
I mean,
you guys point of it's crazy. Your guys' point is correct. I think this young team, considering their age and how beat up they've been all year, to see this through and to get in the playoffs, regardless of the result in that playoff game, massive for a team's morale and the momentum going into 2024. You can't tell me that that's not going to jolt them into the offseason, and they're going to be juiced all season, raring to get back here in August for training camp. I think this team is set up to do some noise in 2024.
And you talked about the league taking notice if we get to the playoffs. The league's already notified.
Well, I'm just saying, on the national media, obviously Sunday Night Football on New Year's Eve, obviously that was.
I think it could potentially already be there because Jordan Love is playing ultimate football. We have the youngest team. This is an anomaly. This is not right. This isn't supposed to happen. Aaron Rodgers was supposed to be here. Aaron Rodgers was supposed to lead the Jets to the promised land, and everything was supposed to be good. And the Packers were supposed to suck. And Jordan Love was supposed to not be good. And this team was too young to figure it out. And Gutekunst was going to get fired, and everything was going to happen in that regard. Guess what? Suck it. We're actually going to go to the playoffs probably. And Aaron Rodgers hasn't played it down. And this is how it is. Welcome to the world. This is what happens, Aaron Rodgers, when you mess around with chicks with blue hair and you start playing with witchcraft. Okay,
this is what happens.
Again, I mean, it was the best thing that could happen to the Green Bay Packers. It was him going on a retreat, though. Honestly, like him figuring out that he needs to be somewhere else. Probably this doesn't happen. So let's maybe thank Aaron Rodgers.
We have a better quarterback in our system right now.
Right, that's what I'm
in
saying.
Our system. So don't get it twisted. I didn't say we have a better quarterback in the NFL. In our system, this quarterback.
I mean, you just damn near made him MVP, so you might as well just call him the best quarterback.
I mean, he'll get my vote.
I hope he gets one. I hope someone just like, can we just look? Because he's probably going to pass Brock Purdy in touchdowns. He's going to pass.
Should LaFleur get Coach of the Year after all the times he didn't get close
over Houston? If Houston gets in, there's no way in hell.
If Houston gets in, you can give it to what's his nuts. But I mean, you got to say, youngest team, brand new quarterback, pretty impressive.
They didn't even.
And I don't know if it's all LaFleur, but
I don't know.
They didn't give it to LaFleur when he went 13-3.
I know. That's what I'm saying. Like, they don't like Green Bay. I'm just saying they don't vote for Green.
Gabbert would jump off a cliff if they came.
I've heard some weird stories where it's like, you know, Mike McCarthy as Coach of the Year, and I'm like, why? Because he's got all this talent. I don't even know who else.
They're gonna screw it up.
Honestly, too. Like I don't see it being anybody else. Do you guys?
Which, I mean, great for them. I would have thought they were going to be in the dumpster for the next 20 years, the way that everything has gone on in Houston. So great for them. They get rid of, you know, Rapey McRapester, and they're doing great. So good for them.
Rapey McRape? Who?
Deshaun Watson.
Oh,
which is hilarious that Joe Flacco looks better than him.
How can I say Rapey McRapester and you don't know who I'm talking about? How many Rapey McRapesters do you know?
Is it technically is that even the same conversation? Because sexual, we're not going to talk about this. We're not.
It doesn't matter.
The fact that you question it is concerning enough.
All right, so
which one?
Vikings, I don't know. So I mean, is there one thing that obviously this offensive line has been
gelling,
a world of a difference. I know this whole like subbing in Sean Ryan and this John Runyon thing. It may be the last time we see John Runyon in a Packer jersey, which is kind of sad to say because, you know, we're kind of hoping like the I guess the lineage of obviously a pro. Because
John Runyon he would be his last time.
What?
Why do you think free agent?
He's a free agent.
You don't think they would just bring him back on some mini deal?
I don't know. I mean,
what's he gonna try to leverage? You know,
I mean, maybe they can get him really great. But at the same time,
I doubt there's many teams out there just clamoring for him. It's not like
I would be surprised though, because he was a starting guard on what everybody knows that the offensive line of basically the offensive line system in Green Bay is pretty nice to know. Like I'm pretty sure like someone would take it.
Yeah,
he's a good resume builder.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. He's still young. He's got pedigree. He's got like a lot of belt or starts under his belt. Like I think someone would take. I mean, a stupid team like the Raiders or like someone like that's just been just clamoring for at least a guy to be like a stable.
Let's be honest. It's
the Bears.
NFC North team with the Vikings, the Bears, or the Lions. That's exactly what happened.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, it'd probably be the Bears.
Offensive line help.
It would be the Bears because they have a lot of money. So that's why I'm kind of like I kind of hope they would give him another shot, and then hopefully, you know, he can battle it in camp and then figure out, okay, is he just going to be like the Evan Diedrich Smith, where he's just like a sixth man, and he just comes in whenever some
guy to throw in is huge, and especially given how much offensive linemen just get hurt to have that.
That's what I'm saying. I've always said you need to keep at least 7 starters on your team. Yeah. Like, I mean, Yash is probably gone. I think he's a tackle, and he's probably really sought after in the sense of people just need a tackle, and they probably throw him. It's kind of like that Lazard thing, right? We have money, we'll throw it at you, and you just come over here, you know, like a big market team.
Yeah, it seems like Rashid's got a lockdown.
Hell, he might go to the Jets. He might go.
Who knows at this point?
But yeah, a big shout out to that. I mean, Rasheed Walker. Honestly, I was a little nervous about it at first it was kind of, it's kind of like this all season, but like
All season.
honestly, and maybe that's just
He's
a
been pretty
testament to
solid.
Jordan Love too, just really moving well in the pocket. What? What'd you say, Matt?
I said he looks good.
Oh,
He's looked good. That's how you said Fred.
I still think they end up getting a left tackle early in the
It
draft.
probably still
I'm sure they
drafts
do,
somebody.
but they're not going to start him right away. They'll probably still keep.
Well,
I mean,
but-
depending on what
Well, I think
Bakhtiari
you
does.
can. It depends. I mean, you could probably get somebody that you could start right away. I think Rasheed Walker is that 6'7".
Start right away. Has Green Bay ever started a tackle or any offensive lineman?
Brian Bulaga.
Brian
Okay.
Bulaga, Iowa.
He was the one rare
Derek
one.
Sherrod until he blew his leg up.
Derek Sherrod.
You're right, Derek Sherrod. All right, fine.
But those are
Other
first
than
round
that,
picks. Those are guys you draft to start.
Well,
That's what I'm
yeah,
saying,
but
if
then they
you
also
can
don't
go
always
first
pan out
round.
either.
Not always, but they'll play him.
All right, let's send it. Get me a tackle then. Or get me a middle linebacker. Isaiah McDuffie. I saw someone say I think it was Ethan.
Dude, I don't know. McDuffie and Quay and Devondre Campbell. And
Well, we're down to one linebacker now because Eric Wilson ain't it. So,
Dude.
no.
I'm just saying, hopefully one of those guys comes back. I doubt it's McDuffie because that guy looked like he broke his neck. So I don't know.
Yeah, which
if
sucks because he was playing fantastic.
he was playing really well. I do.
Yeah,
I
him
agree
and
with that.
Jones, I thought were right. Jones, why did I just have a brain fart?
You mean Quay?
Oh, ha
Walker?
ha ha! Matt was wrong. Suck on that, Matt.
Oh, he did. I forgot. It's so long ago. I just assumed he
But
started.
Aaron Taylor, though, I love it. Baldy from
Yeah.
Notre Dame, correct? Notre Dame.
Yeah. Yep.
They compared him to my grandpa on his rookie card.
Really?
Yep.
Do you have his rookie card?
Yep.
Look at you. You just
I
love
know.
offensive linemen. I love it.
No, I
Resident
just like
offensive
cards
lineman.
that speak that's in my grandpa's name.
He just looks at every card. What is it? Who's his comp? Who's his comp?
O lineman.
He's probably not comps anymore. But
No.
So anything else you guys want to talk about with this Viking game?
Well, I think we got to. I mean, let's,
Oh, hang on.
hit-
There is one more thing we need to talk about. Go ahead, though.
no, I was just gonna say we could talk a little bit about, what some of the receivers were doing.
I do think Jaden Reed, as you can see in our background here, Jaden Reed that's not even our background. It's Jordan Love, isn't it? Jaden Reed is that guy.
He's
And
it.
Yes.
we
he
were
is.
questioning if we have a number one receiver, and maybe it doesn't have to be the prototypical like 6'3", runs this and that, jumps this high. Like it might be like a Tyreek Hill kind of thing where you just got this speed slot guy that's your number one. Like
Well, I think
this guy
that's
is
That's the
unstoppable.
movement of the league, right? There's not
Mhm.
the days of these 6'4", 6'5" guys are just not there. I mean, Mike Evans is obviously still available, a guy like that. DK Metcalf is a guy like that. But
The
when you
definition
really
of the
look at
number one is different now.
it, true, yes,
Yeah. Yep. It
that's what
moves
I'm
around.
saying. Like it's a smaller packaged receiver, if you will, and they just move and you get the ball to them quickly, and you're able then to chuck it down the field.
And can we talk about Bo Melton, who basically is another version of Jaden Reed?
I'm not buying
Dude,
it. I'm not buying it.
What do you mean you're not buying it? He's
No,
all
I'm
over
not-
the
I'm not
place.
buying
He's
that.
got 4.3
Fucking missed
speed.
a drop, man. He made
one drop, and it wasn't even a great pass.
Open. This is Matt LaFleur's scheme. This is exactly, you could place whoever the hell you want, and they'll be in that spot. He was wide open on that end zone touchdown. I'm sorry, Fred can't make that catch. Like, I'm sorry, he missed the one that he needed.
Have you ever seen somebody just relish playing the fucking devil's advocate at any moment he can possibly get? Like he
All day.
refuses to go. Oh yeah, he's actually pretty. It's a journeyman wide receiver. He's producing.
Jordy to you? Like what?
Did I say that?
On the practice squad forever. Like you guys act like just because they come off the practice squad, they have one good game. Then there's
How many guys have we plucked off practice squads that turn out?
This is exactly the problem with Packer fans because
God.
Jared Aberdeen's. Oh my God, he made that Hail Mary catch.
No
He's
one's
gotta be
talking
good.
about Jared Aberdeen's. No
I'm
one's
just
talking about
saying,
Jared
bro.
Aberdeen.
Just
We're
saying.
talking about
Like-
Bo Melton. I think he's got a good skill
same
set,
thing
and I
with,
think because of the system he's in, they can leverage his speed and his shiftiness. And Jordan Love knows where he is, and he throws him the ball. That's the point.
I don't.
He's got one. He's got one detractor. He's got one detractor. I'm not. You're not sitting with me this week. I'm finding somebody else to go to the game with. You're not sitting with me.
If he goes and balls out this game, I'll shut up. I'll eat crow.
Please
next
do.
week. I'll eat
Please
crow.
do.
I'll sit here and I'll buy a. No, I'm not gonna buy a Bo Melton jersey. But still, like, first off, he's wearing 80. and I saw the comment about Donald Driver. He's crafty. Does he actually make the right route? Like, it looks like he can run the right routes, which is good. I hope this is his shot. Maybe this is his shot to, like, show the world that, look, maybe I was supposed to be on a roster. But at the same time, too,
There you go, Gabby. You can come with me.
I will tell you right now, there's a reason why he was a practice squad guy in the first place. Why wasn't he not picked up before? Why?
I don't know. Rasul Douglas was a practice squad player.
Why
He
did they
completely
think
flipped
that
the Packers.
Samari was better? Like, again,
He's drafted here.
Again, that's what I'm trying to tell you. Like, there's a reason these guys are like this. Like that it's not because it's just like a hatred. Like, I don't.
Dude, you are a Packer fan. We have endless examples of practice squad guys coming up and playing well. How are you sitting here opining about this? What's wrong with you?
I'm not.
Yes, you are.
I'm just saying. It was a nice little game. I'll give him credit for it, but I'm not buying this. Like,
I hope he does it again.
The next, like.
No one's saying he's going to be the 1, 2, or 3, but is he your 5 or 6? You could do a lot worse. And I think, again, the point is he's got a great skill set. And if he plays 10 snaps a game, you can get some meaningful snaps from him.
Remember when we did this last week? We said, who's your 1, 2, 3? We might have to come back to that. And we all might be changing our number 1 to probably Jaden Reed, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. So to answer this, like, who is your number 2 and 3? If you're putting Reed at number 1, because I think we all are in agreement, right? Reed is the most talented.
When Watson's healthy, he's a game changer. But he's never healthy.
And what are you guys' thoughts on Dobbs? Okay, but
he doesn't suck. He's just not that consistent. He's not.
I think that
I like Wicks a lot.
Is really
I think
good.
I like Wicks more than Dobbs. Whoever had in the chat last week that they had, I think it was Reed, Watson, and Wicks, and I let one loose. Like, I was like kind of mad.
Well, I just wanted to point out,
like,
since we're going to talk about Wicks, I just wanted to point out that at the beginning of the season when we did our who's going to be the guy out of the draft class, I said Wicks, and I think you said Valentine, Sanjay. So you were right, and I was right. Who did you say, Matt?
I either said I think I said Reed or Kraft, one of the two.
Okay. You didn't say Reed, but I'm pretty sure you said Kraft, I think. None of us said anything about. We talked about how good Reed could be, but I don't think any of us were sold on the idea.
Sometimes I just don't know what comes out of my mouth. Anyway, go ahead.
I mean, I said Reed was a small package kind of guy, and then
I said I let one loose.
Yeah, that just got thrown into it. But anyway, no, I think ultimately when it really comes down to it, you look at this receiving core. I think there's a ton of young talent. We don't know exactly how everything is going to pan out. Next year could be a complete different situation.
Yep.
But the fact that we have 5, 6, potentially 7 guys that I'm pretty comfortable with lining up every single week in Watson, Dobbs, Reed, Heath, Melton, Wicks. I like Heath a lot too. I think he's an underrated dude. I mean, 100%. He seems to make up. He makes these like good plays. Yeah, he makes good plays on third down. He just seems to be there. And I think it again is a testament to LaFleur's system and Jordan Love being open to making the right reads and looking around as opposed to Rodgers, who would probably just throw to nobody.
That's the thing is like nobody has until Bowman got 100 yards, and then no one's going to come sniff 1,000 yards, which means he's just spreading the ball around. And I know we've talked about it on the show a lot. Great. But it feels like all these guys have like different skill sets. They like everyone kind of brings a little bit something different. There's not like 3 or 4 of the same receivers. So the Packers have a lot of flexibility in terms of what they can do. Like for Heath, for example, awesome blocker, and then he'll go and make a diving catch at the same time. So like they got some dudes
in a pinch when in a game where it really kind of got out of hand right away for the Vikings. A Bo Melton or a Malik Heath is fine. But like when you get to the nitty gritty, like
I agree with this
playoffs, you need guys like Watson, Dobbs to play a lot better, not have as many drops. You need Reed to be healthy, not be going out in the middle of the half. First off, awful call right there on that that punt return. But still, like it's just like that's why I'm also posing this question: do you go after a big name receiver like a T. Higgins who potentially could be a free agent? I'm not saying I get it. Like he's probably going to warrant a lot of money, but if you go get a bona fide guy. Because again, as cool as this story is with these young guys, are they the legit, for sure you can depend on them each week out, like whatever, you know what I'm saying? Like, are they?
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know if it's
themselves as like reliable targets.
We don't know exactly what's going to happen next year. I mean, I could probably look at a couple of those guys and say I can count on them for being legit next year. A couple of them, like the Meltons, the Wicks. I don't know that they could be trash next year, and we would be like, oh my gosh, that was terrible.
Could regress.
I don't
right?
know if bringing in a Higgins. So here's the thing: is yes, crazy talented. But does it disrupt that room? Does it disrupt that wide receiver room a little bit just because now all of a sudden you have someone?
Anytime you bring someone new,
Someone with a little bit of ego and a little bit of extra money kind of messes things up. I think what Gutekunst is trying to do with his team is kind of bring them down, if you will, in a sense of we don't want egos in rooms. We don't want, to sign a Higgins and he comes in a Rolls Royce and everyone's like, who the fuck is this guy? I mean, that can kind of disrupt stuff. On the other hand, though,
one of those guys is going to get paid eventually, right? Like
absolutely,
but I think when that gets paid.
But I think in 2-3 years we can cross that bridge and we'll take care of it. Right. I want to say one other thing before because we're at 15 minutes. We got to get close into what's going to happen next week or on Sunday. But I do think the emergence of Tucker Kraft in the absence of Musgrave has been one of the most exciting things to watch. He to me he looks like a Chimera. He looks like a
I like that.
I think of like all the classic white, old tight ends, like the Chimeras and the
Jason Witten,
the Wittens, and like just guys like he's just reliable. He's tough. He's strong. He blocks well. He runs decent with the ball.
He does actually run pretty well.
He's not going to run 80 yards, but he can get those open yards. The idea of what this team could be with that offensive line, with those receivers, with Tucker Kraft being such a good blanket. And then you throw in a guy like Musgrave who can really tear that seam apart and potentially do some crazy things with his speed, only boast to what this offense can be next year. And I really hope that we hit the ground running early next year and kind of can show that because I think we can be really special.
I agree. I don't know if there's any way that you can't look at this team and see all this, upward trajectory on their stocks, right? Like their player stocks. Like I think everybody's kind of moving on up and you're just kind of thinking like what True North said, like the draft and offseason, now you're just plugging in like positions of like need, right? Like, hey, we kind of probably need another linebacker. We definitely need a safety. We probably need an offensive lineman and probably like, another corner, maybe another running back. Who knows? These are all
how's that rebuild going? Oh wait,
yeah, right.
We have to
reload.
All right, let's get into Chicago.
Bears week. The Bears coming into town. Justin Fields playing a lot better. The team is playing a lot better. The defense actually is probably the namesake, I guess, of what's happening these last like 4 weeks or so, 5 weeks. They've been playing more sound defense. Obviously, they've been playing much worse quarterbacks. They haven't seen Jordan Love since week 1, and Jordan Love probably is the best quarterback they've seen since, I don't know, probably. I guess if you want to I'm putting Jared Goff below Jordan Love, right? Do we like Jordan Love more? Because they just played Jared Goff twice in a row, like in the last like 4 weeks. So I think this is an interesting game because obviously they have nothing to play for other than the sake of just, being spoilers
Which
for
is
us.
their Super Bowl, and it's always been their Super Bowl.
Right, yeah. I mean, it is their Super Bowl, and they don't want to keep getting owned by us. And also, this is Justin Fields playing for his career here because he got to figure out if he's going to be their quarterback long-term or is he going to be playing in Atlanta or somewhere else, New England, wherever, he might need to, change his address. I don't know. So this is a big game in the sense of, hey, we need to just not look at this as like a lower opponent like we've done in the past with like the Giants and another team. And yes, I mean, still that playoff mentality, but you just need to put the foot on their throat, like, and just go. Like, I don't know who's going to suit up. Hopefully you get, maybe you get Musgrave back. I know he was practicing. I know he probably wasn't going to make last week, but maybe he makes this week. Does Watson play? Because the guy was running crisp routes. I don't know what he's. Oh, I'm just not at a point where I can do everything. I don't care, man. Run one route for all I care. Just be out there. I hope he does play because the guy was running on pregame of the Vikings game. So I never want to see that. In all honesty, that pisses me off as a fan. Don't show me this guy that's just running all about practice and probably even pregame and probably could suit up, and then he doesn't suit up. That really makes me mad. You get Job back off of suspension. That obviously helps. It doesn't hurt you. And then the big question will be at middle linebacker. What are we going to do? Are we going to have Eric Wilson? You bring someone in off the practice squad or, off the street because you're going to need some some bodies there. And then does Wicks play? That would be a nice if
Reed. We need Reed.
And then Reed, of course, is the big one. Like, is he is he a go? He said that he was trying to get back into the game that night. So I think
probably
they were
held him out
probably
for
like, hey,
caution.
we're up. Why don't you just sit this one out? Let's just rest up and then we'll get you back maybe Sunday. So hopefully he does. I don't know. What do you guys think?
Well, I do know this is that we are going to take the best shot from the Bears. They're going to throw everything they have at us because they know that I guarantee you from the moment we beat the crap out of them in week 1, they've had this one circled at the end of the year. And now that the fact that it's a win and get in for us, they are going to come in here and they're going to give us all we can handle. I really, I have to acknowledge that they've come a long way in the last couple of weeks, at least defensively. Yep. And I know Justin Fields has played a lot better. This is going to be a huge test for a defense that has struggled against really bad quarterbacks. I'm going to throw out Jaron Hall because he's too bad. He could not have success against Joe Barry. So to me, this is like we need all hands on deck. I want to see Watson. I don't care. You 80-90%, get out there, get him out there, let him run some routes. Maybe he can't do everything in his ensemble, but he can run a good go route. I want to see Wicks back. Just Devondre Campbell. We need everybody for this one because we all remember last year we got to that point. We struggled through that season, and to get to that last game and to have it at home and you have it in your house, got to deliver. And so it's the Bears. They have yet to beat Matt LaFleur. I don't want it to start now. So hopefully, and again, most of these guys were on that team last year, at least a good chunk of them. So they remember that feeling coming off the field at the end of the year. So I'd like to think that they're going to be a little extra motivated. But if you're going to sleep on the Bears, look out because they've added some talent. And like I said, they're going to throw everything we can handle at the Packers. So, it's going to be a good one.
Prediction.
My prediction, I'm going to go. I checked the temp. It's going to be low 30s. So it's not going to be a frigid game. I'm going to say 31-23 Packers.
Okay. Yeah. I mean, I agree. Chicago's going to bring everything they've got. They're not going to hold anything back. This is a monster game for them. This is their opportunity to finally, kind of put a dagger in us, put an opportunity to shut us out. My one fear is psychological fear is that this team is so young that they have that mentality of, oh, there's always next year, right? When you get guys who are a little bit later in their careers, they feel the pressure of not getting in. Yeah. Does this young team feel like, okay, if we don't win, it's fine. Next year, we're going to be better. That's not always the case. And it doesn't always work that way. So I hope that that's kind of relayed to them.
It's nice that Jordan Love's leading them though, because he's
absolutely
seen it as the old guy.
He's seen it, and I think some of them have experienced it last year. And you referenced last year. That's different to me because Detroit is a good team, right? I mean, the fact that we lost to them in that last week, I can understand that. I don't think there's any reason in the world why we should lose to this Bears team. We are the older brother. There's big brother syndrome with them, little brother syndrome with them. They can't it's that's what it is, right? Like, you have an older brother who just constantly wins and beats you at everything. Even when you're maybe the better guy, you can't beat them because it's just big bro's got you. And I don't think that they can,
though, right?
Huh?
Sometimes that little brother gets it.
Sometimes they prevail, right? And this could be it. And maybe it is. And it gives them false hope. And we got to really think about where we're going to go here when it comes to how we progress. But ultimately, I don't see it. I don't see them beating us. I think there's too much on the line. I think we're playing too good. I think the team getting some people back is good. LaFleur's flawless against the Bears. I can't imagine us doing it 2 years in a row, losing out on the playoffs, especially in this situation. Also, all three of us will be there, which makes it even more of a reason to believe that we're going to win. So I'm actually was very close to what you were going to say, Matt. I think it's actually going to be about 34-20, and I think most of their 20 points are going to come later in the game. I think we're going to go up early on them, and we're going to see Justin Fields do what Justin Fields does and start pouting and hiding on the sideline, not being a true leader. This is it. It's my last game here. I'm ready to go to Atlanta, whatever it might be. So that's where I'm at. I do want to say one more thing before you start, Sanjay. I would hope that you pick us to lose because you're actually better for us when we pick us to lose.
I have never picked us to lose against the Bears. If you want to go check out the receipts, go please do, because I hate the Bears. So I have picked us to lose against the Vikings and the Lions, but never the Bears. So that's going to stay. That's going to remain the same. I'm not picking us to lose because I'm going, with Matt. So he would probably kill me.
Yeah, I would revoke your ticket. Your Bull Mountain stuff was enough.
I'm going to go 42-20. 21.
The burger.
Is that the first burger of the season?
We've scored 30.
I think it might be.
Yeah. So, we scored 32 weeks straight, right?
Yep.
And I think we've missed opportunities.
Yep.
Yeah.
Jordan Love has missed on a couple shots, and I think Matt LaFleur as a whole coaching has missed on a couple shots. So I just feel like this is one of those games where it's like, I don't give a F who you are. You think you're going to ruin our show? No, this is the new year. We're going into the playoffs. We're going to be the hottest team into the playoffs. We're going to go beat the Cowboys or whoever the hell we play. Maybe not. I don't know. But still, we're going to still be that threat. I want to be like what they're fearing the Browns right now, right? Like Joe Flacco, he's going to come in. I want to be that team, in the playoffs. So let's start first in Chicago, in Green Bay, 3:30. Nance and Romo on the call.
Yeah.
And we don't have to worry about that because we're gonna be hearing good old
Bill Jarrett's trying to get the crowd going.
Quiet, please, quiet.
Okay, so my last thing for everybody that's listening and for everybody that will listen to the show later on. Come Friday, show up to work with all your Packer gear on. Treat this like it's a playoff game. I've always told Charlie my favorite thing about the sports in general, and especially the Packers in Wisconsin, is that each week that we get closer to the playoffs and into the playoffs, you start to see more people wearing their Packer jerseys at the grocery store, at the mall, and everybody starts to get kind of in the groove, and they're like, you get those random like "Go Pack Goes" to someone you've never seen in your life before, and I love it, and it's what I love about sports. So this Friday, show up to work, wear your Packer shit, get hyped, spend your whole weekend talking about it, and let's on Sunday night, let's dominate.
Absolutely.
I concur. Flash his Buck shirt. Their time's gonna come, not now.
Yeah, they're later, but
all right. So we really thank you guys, obviously, each and every week. Thank you for joining us this Tuesday. We'll be back again next week. Hopefully, we're going to be talking about being in the dance as the 7th seed and playing whoever we play. We'll see whatever transpires over the weekend. Enjoy this weekend of sports, Saturday and Sunday. And then if you're going to the game, if you come see us, we'll be at Fleet Farm lot area. Come check us out. We'll crack a beer with you and we'll say go Pack go, right? But as we all do here, that's Matt, that's Fred. I don't know what he's got. A cone. Look at that cone you got.
Go. Yeah, this
there you go.
Classic, ladies and gentlemen.
Yep.
Come on.
Hey, as always, folks, thank you so much. Love you guys. And
let's get a dub. Let's go, baby.
Go.
Go.